Submarine volcano. Everyone's scared of volcanoes, but they're pretty easy to avoid, just don't live near one. Something that's much more scary and unpredictable are submarine volcanoes. Underwater, there are many volcanoes which can erupt at any point in time. Many of the world's most explosive volcanoes are actually found underground. 75% of all of Earth's magma comes from these submarine volcanoes. Sometimes the water can be so hot you'll boil alive. It basically makes you and your boat into a human stew. One sign that you could be near to a submarine volcano is if the water suddenly gets very hot. Sometimes these are so big they can cause tsunamis. Also, any fish who happen to be swimming under the sea when it erupts are not going to make it. The Hava volcano lies 3,000 feet beneath the sea surface, and it's said to be the world's most dangerous submarine volcano. Ice tsunami. You may think that there's nothing more scary than a tsunami, but what if that water in tsunamis suddenly froze into hard blocks of ice? Well, that's exactly what happens many times a year. These are caused when an iceberg breaks off and is moved by heavy waves. The ice eventually breaks up until it gets to land, and then anything in its way will be wiped out. These ice tsunamis can be up to 50 feet high. Many buildings and houses have been wiped out by these over the years. Brinacle. A brinacle is every diver's worst nightmare. They take place in the Arctic regions of the globe, and they happen when the air temperature is so cold that it freezes the sea below. Only it doesn't freeze the entire water gradually. Instead, it happens in small, thin spirals. That's because the brine in the salt water freezes. Now, this won't affect many humans, as most divers don't go beneath the ice sheets. But any Arctic creatures which live underwater do get frozen. They get caught in what's known as the icicles of doom. And of course, if any humans were around, then they'd get caught up in this too. Frozen methane bubbles. Frozen methane bubbles are often found in Canada. They look like flying saucers which have been dropped into the water and frozen. But these bubbles are actually pockets of gas, methane to be specific. They've been formed and trapped underwater and then frozen. These can be created by leaves, grass, or animals falling into the water. They are then eaten by bacteria, and this causes the methane. Now, it may look stunning and beautiful, but it's also very dangerous. That's because methane is one of the most flammable gases in the world. In the spring, when the ice melts, the methane bubbles pop and fizz. If anyone nearby lit a match, then this would cause a gigantic explosion. Thankfully, there's lots of signage telling hikers not to do this. But if someone ignored these and did one day, then we could see a natural explosion bigger than any ever before.